characters. They're all relevant. They're teenagers, but it's not annoying to like read them. They're actually like fun and interesting. I just. And they have the gay characters that are actually like not lame for once. Like they have somebody who's writing them who understands how to write gay people convincingly. Like I don't know.
So they're just making out all the time.
Yeah,
all
they're
the
just
time.
totally.
Splash page
They're in
after
WeHo,
splash page.
you know?
Splash gay.
Oh, splash.
It's like I got something on
And,
me.
and the fact that they have an indie artist, I mean, they have McKelvey and Phonograph was what they did originally. That Team Gillen and McKelvey.
Yeah.
And man, his art is just they do have really cool splash pages, like double page spreads of like with all those weird. They're doing a lot of different stuff with panels. I wish I had it here to show.
They did one where they did like almost like a blueprint for. It looked like a blueprint, but it was like a diagram of
him doing a
Marvel
fight.
Boy like fighting all the people.
Yeah.
So instead of doing it panel to panel to panel, which actually they kind of did on the sides.
Right.
It was a blueprint of the spot, and it was him showing him basically disarming each person at every spot.
Well,
So
Kind of like a
this
family
time
circus. With the little footprints.
Kind of, yes.
a little bit.
This time around, they had this really cool scene where Loki has Wiccan's powers, and he's empowering everyone with this. Like, he's in the center with this giant, like, pentagram, and then, like, his powers are going out to all the other people who are, like, destroying all these other bad guys, and then it has insert panels all around it showing, like, close-ups of it. And it's just, that book has blown me away, man.
It would have been great to read on Comixology. With their animated.
Do you guys read Comixology, the digital?
No, absolutely not.
I'll mess with it every now and then, but mostly only for like the
freaking
digital
Carl
only
is
stuff.
not-
I don't know because I'm ADD, so like to have
Your ability to
the
bring it.
isolated panels, it's very helpful to me. Like it's really cinematic.
I'm
I'd
so
rather
on
have
the
a book in my
fence.
hand.
I'm so on the fence because yes, I like the tactile feel, but I really do like the animated panels.
It's very
but
cinematic,
at the
it's
same
cool.
time, I need to support my comic book shops.
Right.
Well, you could do both. Like I buy my digital comics from House of Secrets
Okay.
through.
So do
Yeah.
you buy it and then put in the code?
Yeah, the store gets the money. I just read the digital comics. So
Okay.
like I have more because I have so many boxes, and it saves so much space.
Yeah.
And
So do you buy it and then throw it in the trash right away, or
what?
like you like put the code in and then you're like, I don't need this. I would just give it away.
No. I'm talking. No.
You
They
can
have a
get the-
digital store. The comic book store
Oh.
has a digital store that you could buy the comics from, and then that
That's
you
pretty
can.
smart.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So like if you guys want to go paperless, it's really cool. So you can support your local comic book store and have room in your closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't need
Also-
room.
I'll say a
Young
quick-
Avengers. No, but no. Young Avengers it's really is a great book, and it's like it captures the spirit of young people, like being super heroic.
The last one.
I'll say this really quickly
Thanks.
before we move on to DC. The lounge seems to some people have expressed some concern at how DC is floundering today and has been over the past 2 weeks. Keep in mind that this is an interactive experience, so if you guys want to submit like your arguments to support them as well, all of that gets taken into consideration.
We get to
So
have help.
back up your champions, y'all. No, I'm just saying in general.
You're doing the tag team button.
Go to
and
bed,
that's
Charles.
true for
Fire.
everybody.
You're off the show. You're off Geek Hero.
So DC.
And I'm back on the show.
Okay. Kind of sad that you guys haven't read it, but Green Lantern 20. I gotta bring it up.
Cool. Do that.
I thought we did that already.
Just don't tell.
It hadn't started.
Just don't tell any jokes
gotcha.
that happened within the book. That's all I. But tell us about the
No
book.
jokes happen in the
Green
book.
Lantern 20 finishes off Wrath of the First Lantern, but stands alone. About between 70 and 80 pages of just awesomeness. Is the last book Jeff Johns writes for Green Lantern. Closes his 9-year run on that book, including all the Blackest Night, everything. And it stands alone because it's told as kind of like this is Hal Jordan's story. This
Yeah.
is his journey as a Green Lantern. And this is what's happened. And here's how it ends. And it just closes out all the characters. It says, once the main storyline finishes, then, it's told as in the future, the archivist of the Green Lantern history is telling the story to a newly minted Green Lantern because everybody wants to hear Hal Jordan's story.
Yeah.
And so after the main story's done, the little kid's like, well, what happened to everybody after? And so then he goes into, old man Guy Gardner is at a bar, retelling a story
That's
which
pretty cool.
of what happens in Green Lantern Corps 20, and gets in a bar fight and just goes through each character and what ended up happening to him. It's awesome closure to this whole Hal Jordan story. That, you know what, if they never made another Green Lantern book, I'm fine with it, because it
Carl
just,
is testifying that he shed a tear over this book.
Wow.
It's a good book. I can't lie. It was a really good book, and
was
I
it,
can
was,
definitely.
was it a fair send off? Like
Yeah,
to-
absolutely. Like, I think Oz hits the nail on the head. Like, like I said, I remember back in the day they were actually thinking about, as crazy as it may sound, they were thinking about canceling the X-Men books, and it was actually Age of Apocalypse
Yeah.
was going to be their send-off, and so X-Men Omega was going to be the last X-Men book printed, and then it was just going to get canceled. But because Age of Apocalypse was so popular, they're like, we can't cancel this book.
Wow.
But if X-Men had ended with that book, I can't even be mad, because it was that great, and Green Lantern is the first book I probably read since then that I could say, you know what, you could end this entire character on this if you wanted to.
I hear you.
It's really good. It's really good, and
book.
especially for Jeff Johns, it's like
Yeah. Because
You-
that's
yeah,
his
it's like-
that's his favorite comic. book
right.
character.
It's like it felt like
Yeah.
all his heart and soul was in that book, and he was just like, I love these characters so much,
Yeah.
and I got to go do my next thing.
Well, he said something that I really liked. He's like, to everyone else, like Clark Kent and Superman, Hal Jordan is Green Lantern. Like, to him. Like, that's how much it meant to him. So, yeah, good call. Good call. And you know what? They're bringing up that DC animation is fantastic and
It
Marvel
is.
animation is weak. You're
It is.
completely right.
Yeah.
Sadly, there has been no DC animated Universal
Superman
films.
Down.
Not this week.
No, it's coming out soon though.
Superman. No, that already
Superman-
came out.
Yeah, it came
That
out a
already
few
came
weeks
out.
ago.
It was good.
it was alright.
But yeah, the animated movies for Marvel aren't that great, but I really do like their animated, like Avengers Assemble, the TV show, the Marvel.
The
TV
new
show.
one.
Yeah. the
I
new
haven't.
one's-
I'm
it's
still
good.
sad about
I haven't
Earth Mighty
seen it.
It's
Series.
great.
I saw it. I didn't-
Superhero Squad,
Yeah.
freaking great.
Superhero Squad is actually fantastic. Like you have to
He
be.
keeps talking about Breaking Bad.
Nobody,
also-
nobody
I
wants
keep
to
saying
talk
it.
about Breaking Bad here, dude. We're talking about comics.
Breaking Bad wins.
But
We're not talking about Arrested Development. That's not what we're doing right now.
not happening.
So calm
It's not
down,
happening.
Chinchi.
but to enjoy Superhero Squad, you either have to be a child or
Or
like
have a childlike mind.
or a super Marvel fanboy. Like, because it's like it's almost like this cartoon was made for the dudes that had been buying Marvel since the 70s
Yeah.
and their kids to watch together. So you can laugh, and because there's a lot of nods to like
They have-
old Marvel stuff. In
It
there.
has MODOK in
yeah,
it.
it does have MODOK.
It has
Anything with
MODOK in
MODOK,
it, and it's just like, yeah, because you watch it and it's really silly, like, you know, Super Deformo
Yeah.
style cartoon, but you have all of these ridiculously F-list characters coming in, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
You know, somebody made a comment earlier. Trash Boat made a comment saying that DC editorial was totally like on the outs with a lot of creators right
Oh
now.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They-
And that's what I've been hearing too. And I
Sure.
want to know what's going on over there. Like, why
oh, I
are
know
they?
exactly what's going
Well,
on.
spill the beans.
Oh,
It's gossip.
don't.
It's
don't know.
no one's listening,
it's
so
kind of a
it's-
combination of bad management and spoiled writers. That's a little harsher than I meant it to sound, but it kind of is. Where DC's doing a thing. They're trying to really make this shared universe and kind of have characters all over the place. Not all over the place in the same universe across different books. So what they're doing is writers have a story, but then they tell them, well,
Right.
we killed Robin, so this month you have to do a Requiem book.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Right.
what
And
you mean.
then
Right. The tie-in.
I think
stuff,
last
yeah.
time we talked about
Yeah.
there was a story where I think it was Lobdell
Yeah.
in Red Hood. He had a story where he had Bane convincing Roy Harper to go into rehab, and this kind of set off him becoming one of the outlaws in that book. But because Bane was being used in another book, they told him, well, you can't use him, so he had to put
Killer
Killer
Croc.
Croc,
Got it.
which kind of
It didn't make sense.
yeah, it kind of took away a lot of that
A lot of
meaning
it, yeah.
because you know the guy's talking about, look, I know what it's like, I know where you're at, and I'm not gonna fight you because you're not in a
Right.
good place right now. Where Killer Croc should just be you
Well, I kind of like though that they humanize him, where it's like, don't make me do your dirty work. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
kill you. Like, I would like to kill you normally, but I'm not gonna do it because you want me to, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it makes more sense if it had been Bane.
Because
though.
Bane
Sure.
kicked Venom already. So
Right.
he-
Right.
Well, it
Right.
just sounds like Bane.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so it's
from a
kinda-
character point.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy over there.
Faceless One. Bane went to rehab and he no.
But I have to say it has to be more than I'm gonna put the onus on DC editorial because
Yeah.
we all know DC's been messing up. I mean,
They
just
dropped the
just the
ball.
book that we thoroughly enjoyed Wrath of the First Lantern's finale. However, that book came out 2 weeks after Green Lantern Corps, which was the epilogue
Yeah.
for that same series.
Sure.
And it was just kind of like, I mean, they basically spoiled their own
Well,
conclusion.
That and they're advertising the covers of the next
Right,
book.
and then
So you
so-
see this book, Hal Jordan leads the Green Lantern. It's
Right.
like, wait a
At
minute.
the last book,
I
that
don't
the
like
last
the fact
book,
that they do that.
but
awful.
Well, it's bizarre. Like they started everything over for this continuity, and then they're already fucking up their continuity. You know, and it's like not even. It's like
Year and a half.
The,
I
the whole
like
the
to
whole
point
5
out-
year, 6 year now 6 year thing doesn't make any sense
Right.
for
I
anybody.
would like to point out that Green Lantern is the only book that wasn't affected.
Yeah.
Mostly because Jeff Johns.
Yeah,
was
it's
in charge.
Jeff
Yeah, yeah.
Johns.
But if you look at the last Green Lantern book and then New 51 issue 1, it's 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like literally, just 5 minutes
Yeah.
later. Nothing changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Well, like, okay, this is something that I was, really thrown for a loop by is when they started the new 52. I thought that Batman Incorporated was its own continuity. 'Cause
That's
was
what I
like-
thought. That's what I
mean,
heard.
that's kind of what they set it up like, where it's like, oh, we're just letting Grant Morrison do whatever he wants because he's Grant Morrison, and we're just gonna let him run with it. And then later on, when he kills Damian, and then that ripples through all the books, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't think that was the same fucking continuity.
Yeah.
And then, as Trashwood was saying too, is Peter Tomasi being screwed out of Batman and Robin,
Yeah.
which he was doing a fucking
he was
amazing
doing a great job
work.
there. I agree.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just bizarre how that whole thing went down. Like
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like just seems like something in the milk ain't clean.
And then,
like something's
Morrison
going
dipped
on.
out, right? He's done. He's done too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Morrison
yeah.
just kills the guy
No,
and
he's gonna
leaves.
try. He's moving on to a Wonder Woman comic, maybe potentially, which would bring her back to her S&M roots, which is what
Yeah,
I would like
bondage,
to
bondage.
read, personally,
Really?
'cause
That
she's
was her
fucking
weakness.
boring. Like she's
in the
boring.
in the early
Yeah,
comics,
I
she was
remember.
always tied
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, well, the guy had a fetish. The guy who
He had a girlfriend and a wife.
yeah, and he invented the lie detector machine.
It's a
and she has a
psychologist,
lasso of truth.
Yeah.
There's that connection.
He
And
really
the original lie detector
Yeah.
machine has tons of straps on it.
Yeah.
Completely unnecessary. He just put them on there because he liked them.
That's awesome.
So yeah, the guy
true.
has very interesting. Well, that's what Grant Morrison says.
You
He
have to
says
wear
the
leather.
original creator has a lot of
That
really
makes it work
interesting
better.
ideas about sexuality in women and how he wants to kind of explore that and really dive into a lot.
It's kind of
weird
like
stuff.
a dominatrix kind of thing too.
A little bit. A
Yeah.
little bit. Is I would love to have for Wonder Woman to have a little bit of sexiness.
Little kink in it.
Like it's just she's so fucking boring. I'm sorry. She's just as a woman she's boring. I don't like.
Does
her.
she still like? How do you feel about like the little girls that look up to her though? Like,
Well, it's like they look up to her because they're told to look up to her. They're
Right.
like, oh, so there's Batman and there's Superman and there's Wonder Woman for you
Right.
girls, and it's like, but it's like there's nothing. I don't know. Like she,
I don't know. I always like. Did you watch the Wonder Woman animated film?
It's good.
That
Yeah,
check
it
it out?
was awesome.
No, I did not.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was like because
she
like
fought Ares.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Nathan Fillion was Steve Trevor, which was
Yeah.
really cool. The reason why I always dug Wonder Woman is because like she was never like a woman trying to prove that she was a man. She was a Amazon proving that she was as good as a man. And I always thought that little girls could look up to that. I'm not a little girl,
Right,
but
right.
like
Well,
I think
yeah, that
like she has
idea.
such an
Or are you?
honorable,
Right.
because like in that whole thing, like Batman is the
Little-
guy that
little
has the
Kappa
19 contingency
icon.
plans.
Right.
Superman's the Boy Scout, but Wonder Woman is always like the true like honor and true like
The warrior,
warriorism,
right.
which I think was still like I think she invokes that.
But
really
when
well.
you look over at the Marvel side of things,
Yeah.
and you look at X-Men, where there's just as many girls on the team as there are guys, and they are just as powerful, if not more powerful. They have just
Jean
as many
Grey.
female leaders
No,
as
I
they
get
have
that.
male leaders. That to me is like that's what I look up to.
No, I get
Yeah.
that, but like
They
the
were-
thing about Marvel and DC, like Marvel has always
Because
been like
shift so
more
much. It's
relatable
still-
characters, totally.
Right. Well, yeah.
But
yeah, that's-
Wonder Woman
that's
is
a whole
so
other thing.
so much more like so larger than life.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Well, she's
the draw.
she's such an archetype though that she's unrelatable to me. You
Yeah.
know, where it's
I
like
think it. Oh, I think
she's
it's
a god. I can't relate to that.
It's the same
Like,
as Superman.
you know,
Like
yeah,
so I
yeah.
can't I enjoy Superman as a character, but you can't look up to Superman because it's like no one could ever be Superman.
That's why everyone likes Batman, because with enough
Right.
with enough hard work I
And
could be
money.
Batman.
Right.
If I had enough money, if I was 6'4" and I could run a 3-minute mile, I could be Batman.
Like, if you guys can't be Supermans, because you're not trying hard enough.
All right.
I can't say your name, Blastocytosis. Oh, I did.